Hello, hello, hello.
Are we recording?
Yeah, we're recording. I wouldn't normally just say that.
Oh, I thought you were trying to cheer everybody up.
Everybody who's here with us,
Yeah.
which is you,
So what are we
are
here to
you
talk
okay?
about? Yeah, I'm good.
Well, remember we had that conversation with your cousin Dan a couple days ago?
Just the happiness revisited conversation.
Yeah, happiness revisited.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're going to talk about.
You want to tell every one of our listeners that you think I lied?
It's not that you lied, it's just that you didn't get vulnerable and go deep and tell people about what Dan calls your process, right? So
The semantics.
we can say semantics if you want, but I wouldn't say you weren't honest. I would just say you didn't dive deep enough to tell people what really happens in your head when maybe you're unhappy and things aren't going your way. And so do you want to talk about that?
Nope.
By the way, thanks, Dan.
I thought we were going to talk about bugs and how which one is it? The praying mantis bites the head off her husband after they have sex.
Well, they don't get married.
After they have sex. Oh, husband, yeah, I see what you're saying. Whatever, the mate.
Well, it's actually during.
While they're having sex?
Yeah. So she bites his head off during sex. And then his body just keeps going until he's
No, that's
done.
the lightning bug.
No, this is the praying mantis.
Well, what is the the lightning bug is the one that has sex.
Well, then wait, hang on, we're not done because then she eats him. So first she bites his head off. He finishes his business, and then she eats him.
It seems like once you bite somebody's head off, that it might prolong the sex a little bit more because now their brain isn't getting in on it.
What? Why would that prolong the sex? I'm curious. Why would not having a head prolong the sex?
As soon as you start thinking about how good it feels, then it becomes harder to, hold off. At least for a lot of guys I know. I mean, I'm not one of them. I'm like,
so if you're thinking about how good it is, then you come faster.
Yeah.
But if
how good it feels. Yeah.
Okay. But if you're not thinking about it and you're just doing it, then it takes longer.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how. If you can't think about, I don't know. It's a good question.
I was thinking maybe if you couldn't think about it, the body would just take over and it would just shoot its wad.
It could be. I mean, not Forrest Gump. What was his name? Garp. Garp's dad was a vegetable, right?
Yes.
Well, according to Garp.
Yep. Okay. He was.
So his brain
and he constantly had a boner, right? Wasn't that the whole first part of the story?
Yeah. Yep.
He was brain dead but had a boner, and so Garp's mom just climbed aboard.
So there's some synapses that the doctors can't. Because I thought it was all kind of controlled by the brain. I mean, what else releases the hounds?
Well, I was sort of equating this whole thing. Again, it's an insect. I don't know what the difference is exactly from.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think there's probably a fairly significant difference between your brain and the brain of a praying mantis.
Well,
have you seen how small their heads are?
The lightning bugs are the really disturbing story for me.
Well, I was thinking that it was sort of that same, like when you cut a chicken's head off and the chicken still can run around.
Yeah.
Well, praying mantises can still hump, apparently.
Yeah, but one chicken's run around for was the record 2 days or some shit like that?
Holy cow. Well, hopefully she doesn't. Probably if he takes too long, she just eats him anyway. Yeah. Come or no come.
That could be. Move on to the next one.
Yeah.
But the real stink of this whole bug sex thing is the lightning bug. Talk about some bull snooky.
Do you want me to tell you about them?
I already know.
Do you want to tell everyone else?
Nope. Go ahead.
The lightning bugs. So each variety of lightning bug has its own pattern that they blink, which I love. That is one thing I'm loving about Tennessee is the lightning bugs, because we didn't have those in Utah. So I think they're really magical.
Yeah, until they lure somebody in and kill them.
Well, this is hang on. Don't you already ruined the whole surprise. So each lightning bug has their own pattern that they blink, and that attracts the mates. So the women do the blinking and the mates come and they have sex. And then after she has sex with one of her own species, she starts blinking a different species
A different
pattern. A different pattern for another species. And when that one comes to have sex with her, she eats him.
So it's a different kind of lightning bug that
Exactly.
she's suckering in. So just the stupid ones.
Well, it's a lightning bug, so it's dark, so they're not stupid.
Well, she said she blinks a different pattern that attracts a different species.
Right.
So the lightning bugs have evolved to the point where they can just keep all the stupid ones in their own species category.
I don't understand the stupid comment.
Well, why would you go if you see that pattern?
Because because that's the pattern of the female of that species.
Oh.
Do you get it? So she blinks her own to get her own mate, and then she blinks a different one to get a male of a different species, which is the same pattern that the females of that species blink. So if you are a lightning bug male,
a really funny word. I know what I'd call that. It's like, what do they call them? The robots that look just like people? Replicants. That's it. All right, moving on. I know what I call the female version of that. That's blinking guys, unsuspecting men, and to eat them.
Yeah, I think it's very dangerous to be a lightning bug male.
Yeah. Anyway.
Because you just come to have sex with who you think is like, just one of your species, but you could either be having sex or you get eaten.
Yep.
It's rough.
I know.
Do you think that's really true of dating?
Maybe.
I mean, technically not
sex or get eaten.
Eaten. You don't really get eaten.
That's true. No, that's not true of dating. No. Dating's probably worse.
That's probably why we're happier together, because we don't want to have to date again.
No. Yeah, right. There's a
That's
lot of
motivator.
couples. There's a lot of couples we know, or relationships that we know of, where people stay together way too long when it's kind of toxic. And I think we've talked about this before. A lot of times people do that because they're just afraid to go back out there and start over. With Sam and I, it's not like that. We don't mind starting over. It's just that we don't want to date. But our relationship isn't toxic either. So there's that.
I don't want to start over.
I'm just joking. I was trying to make a joke, but I think if I heard a thud, and that was my joke.
That's okay. Sometimes that happens. Do you want me to laugh anyway like I like?
Nope. I think this is a great podcast. All right.
Nope. We have to go back to the happiness conversation.
Your hair looks so pretty today.
Thanks, baby. It's getting bigger and bigger every day we live here in Tennessee.
Why do I gotta talk about happiness? I don't want to.
Because you're not happy today?
I'm fine. Happiness is my choice.
Okay, so let's talk about it. So we were talking about how sometimes when you're unhappy, it's much easier to focus outward on why you're unhappy as opposed to focusing inward. And when people are in relationships, sometimes those are where you place the blame. So
then you asked me if I ever do that, and I said no.
But
and then you got real pissed, and you gave me like the stink eye.
I was really pissed because I'm like, I know you do that. It's not that it comes out. But you have that thought, and I knew you had that thought because later you said, when I have that thought, I blah, 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 blah. But you didn't really go into detail. So you have to admit that happens sometimes. It could be me. It could be someone else.
Yeah, I was told that it wasn't that I was dishonest. It's that I wasn't totally forthcoming, which I think is a great way. I never lie. Sometimes I'm just not totally forthcoming.
So do you want to be forthcoming?
Well, to me, it was a little bit more semantical, but then I was told that a lot of people need to understand processes, because if you just say it never happens to me, then people are like, oh, wow,
that's awesome. I wish I was like that. That sounds like perfection.
But in truth, I guarantee you there's probably a lot of people that are just like me, and that's because it does happen to me, but I try to get rid of it quickly with my process. And my process is what I was asked to elaborate on.
Ta-da! And go.
and that so
because I was talking about mine.
yeah, so in our book we talk, there's a chapter in there called Own It, Don't Own It. What's the rest of it? Own it, don't own
Let
it.
it go.
Let go, yeah,
Or
something like that.
Something like that.
We should read our book more often. But I usually chalk it up to the don't own it thing, because typically if I'm unhappy and blaming it on someone else, I'm owning their shit. So
or you're not owning your own shit.
I'm not going to blame somebody else for not owning my own shit, am I?
You might.
Okay.
You might be unhappy for some reason.
Somebody stole my shit.
Somebody stole your shit and you're blaming them instead of dealing with your own feelings.
But it was mine.
Yeah.
Anyway,
the feelings are yours too.
Back to it. My whole process kind of works like, oh, whoa, you're pissed off right now, or you feel sad right now because your feelings are hurt, or whatever the reason is. And then there's maybe a minute of pouting, or I turn around and walk away and take a couple deep breaths and think about it for a second. Actually, I don't. I have a moment of unhappiness. I have a moment of anger, which is just a manifestation of hurt. And I have those flashes, and then my process basically is pretty simple.
Hang on, can I stop you and ask you a question?
What the fuck? I'm supposed to be talking about my process.
I know, but you said I only have a moment. Do you take the time to really feel the pain, feel the hurt, feel the sad, and like let it move through you, or do you just try to move on real fast?
No, I think it's important to recognize what it is and give it its name. So it's like, okay, you're pissed off right now. Why? Because of this. Oh, yeah. All right. Well, anger's not real, so it's technically hurt, and you're hurt because of this, and that's okay. But do you want to let it dictate the rest of your day? And my answer is no, I don't. I would rather be in control of this moment right now and not dwell on the past, because that was the past and it's something I don't need to own. And anyway, this whole process can take place over the course of 5-10 minutes, a minute,
30 seconds.
Yeah, it's like sex.
Honey, I'm really glad that it isn't 30 seconds usually.
Yeah.
Well, except for when, I guess sometimes I wish it was 30 seconds. Like when we're doing a quickie and someone's coming, or
anyway, so my process is I guarantee there's a bunch of other people, you people out there, that kind of process things the same way. I didn't always do it that way. I used to own shit for days and weeks, and even more recently, in the last couple of years, there's things that have taken me over a year just to get over. But I wasn't blaming. It was more the hurt that I was having trouble getting over than it was the well, no, I guess I lied the other day. Holy shit. But you asked me specifically.
I'm really glad you came to that conclusion.
You asked me specifically about you, and I said no. Well, I said maybe 10 years ago I did, but I don't anymore. So I didn't really lie, because
you don't blame me for your happiness or your unhappiness.
No.
It never crosses your mind still?
Well, sometimes if Sam would give me a Hummer right now, I'd be really even happier than I already am. Crosses my mind, and then you don't, and then I get mad that I could be even happier than I already am, but I'm not, because you won't.
I think that's the same thing.
Yeah, but I was already happy, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
See? Simple. Life's so easy.
No, it's not.
I know, I'm just kidding. Anyway, but so our moment of not so perfection would have been, I can't even label it as ours. Well, I can. I guess Sam can take some credit for asking the wrong questions the other day. So,
or asking them the wrong way, or yeah, maybe not being specific enough about the question I was trying to ask you.
Well, Dan,
thank you for sharing it, though. Dan did a good job of.
Dan's my cousin. I wrote a little bit about him in our book too.
He's awesome. Thank you, Dan. We love you.
He's a wise man, and
he lives right down the road here in Tennessee.
His comment is if you really want to help people, they need to understand your whole process. Otherwise, it just and that makes sense to me. So What Sam said didn't. Stink
Well, I'm
eye.
glad that Dan could.
Stink eye didn't work.
I wasn't trying to give you the stink eye. I just was like, I know that you've had this, so I want you to tell everybody, but you were reluctant, so.
Well, it's because I got caught up in my own mantra, I think. And my own mantra really is that you are in control of your happiness, and you should never blame your unhappiness on someone else, because that's an environment that you are 100% in control of. So that's where it stopped, basically, was just that thought process, without going into, okay, well, there's a whole process to get to there, because I don't know anybody that can just take a big giant heap of shit without reacting some way or another. And if they don't react, they're reacting on the inside. So inside or out, people are reacting always. And it's a matter of putting a label on that feeling, being okay with how you feel about it, and then moving on in your own head so that it doesn't affect the rest of your day or the moment, which is now.
Yeah, and really being able to my process is similar, where I really try to feel it, and then, like you said, kind of rationalize it. What is this really about? And then I work very hard to let it go.
Yep. And this is a short and sweet podcast, so I don't have a ton more to talk about.
Me neither.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, that's really the end.
Oh, did you want to? Well, where do you're putting your finger on the stop button? So
Well, I am, because you were like, bye, that's the end.
Well, now it's the
I
end.
just was I was thinking of some sort of summarization of what we just discussed. But
You know what I'd love to get some comments from people. I've never seen any comments. I'd love questions. I'd like to do a live Facebook Live podcast someday.
that would be cool. So if you're not already part of our Bigger Love community on Facebook, please join us and send in some questions. Maybe we'll do a couple posts asking for questions, and you want to do a live one, huh?
There's 2 pages on our Facebook. So because we're not so perfect, we've managed to make it super confusing to a degree. We have Bigger Love, which is
More about the book.
Yeah, it started out as just our book page, and then it became our group page. And then, no, it's a book page. Well, whatever. We have a page called Bigger Love, and then we have another one called the Not So Perfect Couple Bigger Love Community.
Oh, okay. See, yeah. I didn't even know exactly how it all worked.
That's the one where we would love you to jump in there and leave some feedback. Tell us what would be a cool, live topic, or a couple of cool live topics. We'll take we'll take whatever the top 3 or 4 topics are, and then if we like them, we'll do them, and if we don't, we'll pick some other ones.
Cool.
Yeah.
I want to have a conversation too about what we discussed with Dan when we were hiking, which was monogamy.
Oh, that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, I know that's a whole nother podcast, but I want to do that one. I want to talk about that too.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Are we done? Mm-hmm. Okay. Bye, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful day.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.